Now, when you listen to this, you see that this is a further justification for U.S. designation as a Nigeria as a country of particular concern concerning the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, whereby there are multiple courts, like appeal court has once struck out all the offenses leveled against that man, yet the federal court by Omotosho went ahead and convicted that man. So this congressman commented on it and linked it back to the claim of genocide in Nigeria, whereby people do things with impunity, and then there's political persecution of people who are not in tune with the federal government. Now listen.
Psalms 96:14 asks, "Who will rise up for me against the wicked? Who will take a stand for me against evildoers?" Nigeria is facing one of the gravest religious freedom crises in the world. As the former chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee on Africa, I have visited and have seen firsthand the direness of the conditions in what is now the deadliest place on earth to be a Christian. They are targeted, displaced, and killed simply for their faith. The ancient plea, "Is there no help for the widow's son?" still echoes today. Since 2019, nearly 17,000 Christians have been killed. In the first 7 months of this year alone, hundreds more were murdered. On June 13th, during the Yellowater massacre, more than 280 Christians were slaughtered in a single day. These are not isolated tragedies, but a sustained pattern of religiously motivated violence, often ignored or even enabled by the Nigerian government. Extremist groups like Boko Haram, Fulani militants, and ISIS West Africa attack often without any meaningful intervention from authorities. The lack of response has created an atmosphere of impunity where Christians continue to live in constant threat and fear. The United States has previously recognized this crisis. President Trump not only designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern during his first term, but redesignated it again in his second term after President Biden inexplicably removed that designation. Religious persecution is tied to political repression and weakening institutions in Nigeria. Example, the detention of Nnamdi Kanu is a clear example. In 2022, Nigeria's Court of Appeal struck down the charges against him and ordered his release. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has also called for his unconditional release. Yet he remains in solitary confinement, in deteriorating health, and recently had to represent himself in court. Nigeria has signaled that the law is optional and targeting Christians is fair game. Just hours ago this morning, despite the pleas and cries of the Nigerian people and many Nigerian lawmakers, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on all charges. For fiscal year 2025, the U.S. has requested nearly $8 billion for sub-Saharan Africa. But when Americans see political prisoners, judicial defiance, and the slaughter of Christians, they understandably ask as they meet their own struggles, why should our tax dollars support governments that refuse to protect their own people? Is our aid aiding a genocide? Nigeria is a nation of tremendous potential, but that potential is being choked out by violent persecution of its Christian population. No country can build a stable future where churches are burned, believers are killed, and communities live in fear. The United States must stay engaged, and Nigeria must.
So those are the words of the U.S. congressman. You see that he linked the repression of Christians to Nnamdi Kanu's trial, whereby he talked about Boko Haram slaughtering people, that in Yellowater alone this year, over 280 Christians were killed, that there is either government hand in it or government lack of action, which has brought about impunity and high-handedness on the part of these murderous people. And yet, in spite of everything, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted, which shows that there's some form of religious persecution tied to political will of the country. So in the end, if care is not taken, the US will still come and bomb Nigeria, because that seems to be the only way out of this quagmire. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I remain your boy Ernest Omozugbe Adebayo Kojex. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Signing out. Peace.